Time is a little different from other measurements because time is measured in multiples of 12. So in a day, we have 24 hours. That's 2 lots of 12. We have 12 hours of AM, antemeridian, and 12 more hours of PM, afternoon, post-meridian. And if we look at how many minutes, there are 60 minutes per hour. And 6 is actually a multiple of 12. Isn't that weird? 5 12s makes 60. And again, we have that 60 for seconds. So if we're converting, we're using 12s to do this. And the only exception here is 1 week is 7 days. I can't explain that. If you can, I'd love to know. Once we get into more modern times, though, we're going to that base 10 again. If we get smaller than a millisecond is 0.001 of 1 second, meaning there's 1,000 milliseconds in a second. It's probably an easier way to think about it. A microsecond, there are 1 million microseconds. Imagine being that accurate. And 1 billion nanoseconds in 1 second. So I've said that AM or PM is used to describe the 12 hours before and after noon, all based on noon. We also have 24-hour time, and that starts at midnight and then counts the hours all the way up to 24. So 0330 is 3:30 AM. So we don't need the AM with 24-hour time. Same here, 1530, and sometimes you'll see airlines will put the time there just to avoid any confusion. 1530 hours is 3 hours and 30 minutes post-meridian. Okay, now this is way cool. There's this button on your calculator, degrees, minutes, seconds, and that button can be used to convert a particular time into hours, minutes, and seconds, or back. So I will show you how you can input either of these, 4.42 hours, because remember, 4.5 hours is like 4.5 hours, or 4 minutes and 30 seconds, so it doesn't match up exactly. But 4.42 hours will be 4 hours. That's what that little degree sign on our calculator tells us. 25 minutes, which is near enough half, but not quite. Same as 4.42, and a measly 12 seconds. So I'll show you how to do that. So let's start with 4.42 hours. Here's the button here, the degrees, minutes, seconds. If I hit that button, I have to hit second function this time because I'm actually going from that decimal amount to this amount, which is 4 hours, 25 minutes, and 12 seconds. I can go the other way around by putting 4 and then directly hit that degrees button. What was it, 25, hit it again, minutes, and 12 seconds. So that's hours, minutes, and seconds. And then I go, and to go the other way, hit that second function again, and hit the same button, and it converts it back to 4.42, which is the decimal version of the time. Way awesome. Now, I think living in the Antipodes, we're a little bit lucky that we've seen some of the Earth's other time zones. And if you've done any traveling, you know that it'll be a different hour. If you have to ring somebody in another country, ring. If you have to Skype somebody, if you have to talk to somebody in another country, wish them a happy birthday, you're going to need to figure out what time it is so you're not ringing in the middle of the night. There are 24, because there's 24 hours in a day, 15-degree lines of longitude that divide the Earth into time zones, and we'll look at some of them. Some of these time zones are a little bit wacky the way they're drawn, and we can talk more about that in class, why that is. Time is based on what's now called UTC, Coordinated Universal Time. You might have heard it called, and this is a bit antiquated, Greenwich Mean Time. And it's based on a place called Greenwich in the United Kingdom. So that's like time zone 0. So places east are ahead, and places west of Greenwich Mean are behind in time. And of course, places west of us, if we go to Western Australia, their time is going to be a little bit behind us. So in Australia, we have 3 time zones. Eastern Standard Time, which is 10 hours ahead of Greenwich time. Then we have Central Standard Time, 9.5 hours ahead. And then we have Western Standard Time, which is 8 hours ahead. Looking at some practical examples here, let's figure out what the time would be if it's 2 p.m. in Greenwich in the UK. Use our map to figure out what time it will be in these places. So in France, here's the UK. Just over here is France, and France is actually in 1 hour time zone different, +1. So it will be 3 p.m. in France. In China, we're also starting from 2 p.m., and we're also going to add. So we can probably see it more clearly on this map. China, in the entirety of China, is 8 hours to the east. And we know that east is, let's look at it again, east is ahead, isn't it? East will be ahead of time. So how far ahead? It looked like it was 8 hours. So in China, if it's 2 p.m. in Greenwich, +8, it will be 10 p.m. in China. In Queensland, when it's 2 p.m. in Greenwich, let's look and find Queensland, with 10. Okay, once again, we're ignoring daylight savings time, which we don't do, but other states do. So 2 p.m. plus 10 is going to give us 12 midnight. That's the safest way to write it. It is actually technically 12 a.m., but don't write 12 p.m. because 12 p.m. is noon, and that's not right. And in Alaska, Alaska is the only one, in this example, where we're going backwards 9. So we're going to the west, so we're going to subtract 9. And 2 p.m. minus 9, it'll be 5 a.m. Now, same thing now. In Australia, it's 9:35 in New South Wales. So then let's figure out what it is in Alice Springs. If it's 9:35, Springs is B on our map. So that's here. So they're in that 9.5 hour. Because it's west, we're going to subtract half an hour, and I know that half an hour is 30 minutes. So that means our time will be 9:05. Still be 9:05 a.m. I should put the a.m. in there. If we're in Perth, we're still going west, so 9:35 in New South Wales minus, so we're going to take 2 hours off of that time, because now we're looking at Perth, which is over here, Western Australia. So take 2 hours off of that. 9:35 minus 2 whole hours is 7:35 a.m. Now we're going to London, so it's 9:35 a.m. minus 10 hours. So if I went back 12 hours, so if just sort of compensating here, that would be 9:35 p.m. the previous day, and I'll just tack those 2 more hours back on. So it'll be 11:35 p.m. the previous, or the day before, previous, that says previous day. And our last one is central Greenland. Greenland is a further 3. Okay, so this one is from Greenwich time. It's 3 hours, but for us, it's going to be all 10 hours plus another 3 hours. So that's going to be 13 hours difference. So that'll be 9:35 minus 13. And we said before that 12 hours, taking off 12, would be 9:35 p.m. So we'll make it 8:35 p.m. the previous day.